Welcome to The Big Seek. My name is Elias, and with your encouraging support, our channel will regularly be sharing fascinating and inspiring stories of faith and hope. Things that we are all constantly in need of, whether we realize it or not. If you're new here, we try to keep our videos short enough to respect your time. Try to watch this story until the end to feel inspired and possibly change the way you see your own story.
They told Michael it was impossible. The doctors said there was no hope. His friends prepared for the worst. And even his own thoughts whispered, "It's over." But what happened next showed everyone that when God steps in, impossible doesn't have to mean hopeless. Michael was a pretty ordinary guy. A husband, a father, a man who worked hard and loved his family. He wasn't flashy. He didn't try to impress anyone. His faith was steady but quiet, the kind of faith people respect, not because he talked about it, but because he lived it. If Michael said he'd be there, he was there. Life was simple and steady until the day everything changed. It started with pain, small at first, the kind you brush off. Michael told himself it was just stress, maybe from long hours at work. But the pain grew worse, until finally his wife insisted, "You need to see a doctor." So he did. After a series of tests, Michael sat across from a doctor whose face said it all before he even spoke. "Michael, I'm sorry, this isn't something we can fix. We can treat the symptoms, maybe slow it down, but full recovery? It's not possible." Those words echoed in his mind. Not possible. He drove home in silence, his wife holding back tears beside him. The house felt heavier than it ever had before. From that day on, life was different. Every morning, Michael woke up with the same question. How much time do I really have? Friends tried to encourage him, but their words felt hollow. Some said, "Stay positive." Others didn't know what to say at all. His church prayed, but even then he felt caught between two voices. One was loud and certain, "It's over." The other was a whisper, "With God, all things are possible." At night, lying awake, he prayed quietly, "Lord, do you even hear me?" Some days his faith held steady. Other days it slipped right through his fingers. One evening, after another exhausting treatment, Michael sat at the kitchen table. Bills and prescriptions scattered across the surface. He lowered his head into his hands and said words he never thought he'd say. "I can't do this anymore." The room was painfully quiet, but in that silence, something unexpected happened. That weekend, his wife urged him to go to church. He didn't feel like it, but eventually, he agreed. The pastor opened his Bible and read, "What is impossible with man is possible with God." The words cut right through Michael's heart. They didn't erase the diagnosis. They didn't fix everything at once, but for the first time in weeks, he felt a spark of real hope. That night, his prayers began to change. Instead of begging, he started surrendering. "God, I don't know how this ends, but I'm trusting you with it." Weeks turned into months. Doctors ran more tests. The reports were cautious. The expectations? Always low. But slowly, something began to shift. The pain that once ruled his days began to fade. His strength returned. His color improved. His wife noticed first, then his friends. Even his doctors couldn't ignore it. Finally, the test results came back. The condition they had said could never improve was gone. The doctor studied the chart, shaking his head. Michael, I can't explain this. Medically, this doesn't happen. But here you are. Michael smiled through tears. I can explain it, he said softly. God did this. Michael's story spread quickly. Friends who hadn't prayed in years found themselves praying again. People who thought faith was just words saw something real. Even his children began to see God differently, not just as a name in a book, but as someone still working in the real world. His healing became more than just his miracle. It became a reminder that God still does what no one else can. Michael often says, the greatest miracle wasn't only the healing. It was the peace he found before the healing. The moment he handed everything over to God, no matter what happened. That surrender gave him strength he didn't know he had, and it carried him through the darkest nights into the brightest mornings. Maybe you're facing something right now that feels impossible. A relationship that's broken, a mountain of debt, a diagnosis that keeps you awake at night. The voices around you may be saying, there's no way forward. But Michael's story is a reminder. Impossible is only impossible until God steps in. So don't give up. Don't stop praying. Don't lose hope, because the same God who healed Michael is still at work today. If this story encouraged you, share it with someone who needs hope right now. You never know how far a simple story of faith might reach. And remember, with God, nothing is impossible.
Having you spend your valuable time to watch this video means a lot more than words can express. If you have already subscribed, your support is greatly appreciated. If not, please consider doing so to make sure you don't miss the next story of faith and hope, and of course, to offer us that all-important support we need. We cannot exist without you. Finally, if today's words of inspiration spoke to you, share it with those closest to you. You never know who might need it. Thank you for being part of this journey, and stay blessed.